Hi guys, welcome to the Rule of Two, where the Star Wars news saga continues. I'm Terrence, and this is the second time I've attempted this video. Not for you guys to worry about, but I actually spent a lot of time on a video and then had to start over again. So hopefully I do this one better. But it may seem a little bit brief because I really don't want to do everything I just did again. So we're going to talk about episode 5 of The Acolyte. And I'm going to phrase it in a way that will make it a little bit more fluid, because I don't want to be all back and forth all over the place with this particular episode, because there was a lot of things that did happen this episode. A lot of great fan service that we finally got out of this show. And then some things that kind of left us scratching our head, like, where are they going to go with this? Not so much. I mean, most every show kind of leaves you questions at the end of an episode, but not a show that's only 8 episodes long that somehow is going to wrap up all the questions they just put up in one episode over the next 3 episodes. So we'll get into that in a minute. So the way I'm going to phrase this particular episode, since this is not really a breakdown, it's really just my thoughts about the episode in general. I'm going to go with some things that I really liked about the episode, and then the questions that they posed. All right, so first and foremost, we have a reveal of the Master. And it was big surprise. It was I mean, we all kind of knew that, and some people thought like it was too evident, me in general, that it had to be somebody else to be the Master. You know, maybe Mulder Coral could have been a better option for it. But I mean, there was too many signs pointing to Chimere. I'm not sure if the showrunners and the director of the episode, or just the episodes in general, the showrunners behind this, were doing that on purpose. Like they really wanted us to know it was Chimere. But if that was the case, why didn't they just reveal it from the very beginning? What was the whole faceless thing over 4 episodes before you reveal that it's Chimere? That you plan to let we all know that it was Chimere, when you could have just maybe had him have conversations without the helmet on, just telling us, hey, it's Chimere. But I'm very happy that actually got revealed, because I was really getting tired of the hidden Master thing. Though it has some questions, is that question number 1 is that if May was talking to Chimere this whole time, and then he also had a relationship with the Master, who found who? Did he find her as the Master and then introduce himself as Chimere? Did he find herself as Chimere and say, hey, I have a Master to bring you to, but I'm not going to be around when the Master comes. You stand right here and I'll be right back, and then, ooh, I'm the Master. So it does give me that kind of, it left me with a question, like, how did this relationship work? All right. So with that being said, is Chimere as the Master? He is a fucking badass. This dude had a great fight scene. The fight scenes are back on in this particular show. We had a great fight scene in episode 1, an okay fight scene in episode 2, nothing happened in episode 3, and then back here in episode 4 kind of sucked until the end. Episode 5 is where they put their money in their budget, man. It was like, because it was an all-out Jedi massacre. Everybody died. Spoiler alert, everybody died. All the Jedi that you like, they died too. So the fight scene was really great. The thing specifically about the fight scene that I like is the simple fact that one is a brutal, like, from lightsaber to hand-to-hand combat. Normally when we see the fight scenes, it's kind of 1 or 2. Even one of the better ones one of our favorite ones is the Darth Maul scene versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. That scene is so great because he's so acrobatic and great with his lightsaber, but it doesn't really show a lot of his hand-to-hand. Is it like 1 kick or something like that? Chimere is awesome. He does it all. He's pulling his lightsaber around and like using the Force and then beating people down with like martial arts. It was like, this was like total badass Sith, which we'll get to in a second. So I really loved that. I love the way that he also attacked their lightsabers, which I felt maybe they overdid quite a bit, because there's always been a like, hey, you know, block, parry, fight, have a whole, sword duel with the lightsaber. He basically tries to disable them. He has a bracer on his arm, which he keeps attacking their lightsabers and kind of sort of disabling them, and then they come back on temporarily, which actually gives him great benefit in each time he does it in the fight. So I thought that was really cool. But brings the question: when he attacks them like that with his bracer, what is that made of? I mean, first thoughts was Beskar, but it doesn't look like Beskar. Beskar is normally kind of like a chromey, at least when it's been purified and melted and forged by the Mandalorians. But maybe this was a raw form of Beskar, and it was like, because that's really the only thing in canon that we've actually been heard of that can actually deal with lightsabers. But I looked it up online because I was really, really curious, and some people keep saying it's something maybe called Kotorsis. And once again, I don't know all the lore of Star Wars, but I try to do know as much as I possibly can and do a little bit of research. But the Kotorsis can take on a lightsaber, which I really hate when they double down on things, hey, the twin diode thing, or, the Force makes children and stuff like that. And it's like, can we just have one thing be the thing? I already have to deal with this with adamantium and vibranium kind of doing the same thing. But we're going to leave it at that. This is early, and it's like maybe they haven't really come across Beskar, and this is the next best thing. That metal seems to also be used on his helmet, which one of the great things that I do like about this thing is that helmet is badass. That smile that's on the front of it has really, really grown on to me. It kind of looks like a Cenobite or one of the aliens creatures with the no eyes thing. It's really like, I am a big fan of helmets, and if you ever saw this room, you'll see all the helmets I have here, Star Wars and Marvel and everything all along across the board. But I'm really digging this helmet, and I kind of want to get one. But it brings me to the next question. How the hell does he see out of this helmet? It's got like the tiniest slit that you could think of right in front of the at the front of the mask. There's no possible way that he can see out of it. And yes, I know you guys are gonna go back. Well, Luke had to put the little training with the training droid, had to put the blast shield down, and he couldn't see it. He had to just use the Force. Yeah, I get it. But how does he see? Other things that I actually liked about this episode, like I said, all the Jedis died, and all the Jedis were red shirts, and it was like Star Trek reference. They were fodder to be. I mean, the only ones that actually made any real things, which he killed about like 4 or 5 Jedi who just kind of came along for the trip, and it was like, well, these guys ain't gonna make it. But the 2 people were the black space dread guy and Jackie. I don't remember her name. I don't remember the only other black person in the Star Wars universe with dreads. But they both died. He gave like the most worthless fight. I thought he would have something. He was lame. Jackie gave a great fight for a Padawan. And it was like, that shows how much Master Soul's training is for them. And it was like, she was able to take on a Jedi and take on May. She held her own. She basically defeated May, and then held her own with Chimera, because he doesn't have a Sith name. We'll get back to that. Until she met her doom really by surprise, because he just kind of like outthought her and was able to lay waste to her. One of the things that does stand out and does bring the question is that because Chimera first talks to Master Soul, and he brings up the fact that, you should recognize me. And Master Soul says, maybe, you feel familiar. But how do you feel familiar but not really know somebody like that? I mean, the Jedi, he even makes a reference that the Jedi can read his thoughts. I mean, the Jedi do read thoughts. You'd figure that they could figure this out. Vader didn't know Luke had a sister till he read his thoughts. It was like, how does he not know? He hadn't seen Luke since he was baby, but he knew Luke was his son. It was like, how would he not know that, he has a relationship with Chimera? That was a question, but I assume that they're going to set that one up in later episodes, which just means more flashbacks, which I absolutely hate. I thought the show was done with flashbacks, but we're not going to be done with them. One great thing that we finally got out of this is we finally got a full reunion between May and Osha. So much so, all it did was leave more questions. Where they have this conversation where they both talk about like who's responsible for them not being together, where Osha says, hey, you destroyed everything and you killed everybody, and then May responds in like not direct, but that's not how I saw things. I'm really confused about that. Are they both being lied to? Did Master Soul lie to Osha as far as the event? Did Chimera lie to May? By the way, did Chimera find her? We'll be back to that in a second. Did someone lie to May about what really happened? Now, this brings up Mother Coral again. because there was a reference about like the evil that was consuming Chimera and that somebody could get into their heads. Is Mother Coral somehow controlling this? But if it was a witch's coven, why would Chimera be somebody that she was using? Why wouldn't she just use another? If she is behind this, why wouldn't she just attend to her daughters? It's questions, guys. Questions that I have about here. It gets us to a point where you know, Osha and May have their fight, which I'm really upset that they just didn't cast twins for this. It would have been so much easier. This whole showing me the back of one person's head and the back of the other person's head, back and forth. It just screams that, hey, it's one person and it's just bad editing at this thing. They literally should have just done a twins when they did this. But we have May defeating Osha and then pretending to be Osha. And then going with Master Soul. Question. That's the case. She changed clothes and all that stuff, so she comes out there looking. Her mannerisms do not say Osha at all. They definitely say May. But if we all know that even with her haircut, because Indara, Master Indara didn't see the tattoo on the forehead because of the long hair. If she cuts the hair, isn't that tattoo supposed to be visible? So why wouldn't Master Soul immediately see that tattoo? Or does he absolutely know that it's her and he's just bringing her along to bring her back to the ship so that way she could have what she wants? I don't know. But moving on, we see Osha being found by Chimera. And when Osha finds Chimera, he was already done with May. And I'm skipping a lot of stuff. I'm assuming that you guys already saw this. It seems that he was already done with May, and it looks like he's going to take Osha on as his new apprentice, because that's all he wants. He wants an acolyte, like the title says, which is closer to what this show was supposed to be when it was originally sold to me. It was supposed to be about the Sith. The fact that in the era that it's setting in, and then they bring a character who's not supposed to know about the Sith and say that they don't exist, how are they going to explain all of these dead Jedi, especially when Master Soul survives and then he goes back to say they were killed? How does he not say Sith when Chimera called himself a Sith? They created a big plot hole with this that they're going to somehow have to address with mind wiping or something. I don't know how they do this in Star Wars, where they're going to have to fix this, but it's going to have to be fixed, or it's just going to be one of those things that always stick out. Those were the things that I really enjoyed from the episode, and then some of the questions that I have about the show going forward. I feel like we're getting into more flashbacks. Look, there was a Wookiee cast in a suit made as a Jedi. Why did I not see that fight? I'm sure we're gonna see that fight in a flashback, because we need to know how he died. I assume Chimera got there early and killed him. I'm sure that's gonna be a great fight, and I hope it really is. But we're going to get more flashbacks back to the temple and how that unfolded, because it does seem like maybe Master Soul isn't telling the whole truth about the whole fire and the Jedi being dead, because they were just kind of lying on the floor. They weren't covered in fire, and it was like, how did they get here? Not the Jedi, I'm sorry, the Witch's Coven when I said that. How did they get here? So I'm sure maybe it's going to be more revelations on both sides as far as, you know, who's really telling the truth and what the truth is in between. In the show, the Jedi kind of seem like dicks. I mean, they don't seem like they're doing a great thing. And one of the things Chimera says is that he just wants the freedom to practice his own religion, to practice the Force the way he sees fit. And the Jedi are basically kind of like doing this whole genocide of everybody who doesn't want to practice the way that they practice, which makes them look really, really dark in a sense. But just like Cobra Kai, I mean, if you looked at it from the Cobra Kai point of view, I mean, it looks like everybody else was a villain and they were the heroes, and I guess maybe that could be the same. And, you know, from every villain is a hero in their own story. All right, so that's all my thoughts. Like I said, make sure you put your comments below. Like I said, I love talking to you guys about this. Please school me on the things that I don't know, the courses things, please let me know. And if you guys really want to get that helmet like I do, put it in the comments below. If this is the first time on your channel, make sure you subscribe as well as click the notification button so that way you're aware of all the other videos that we do on the channel. All right, I feel like I'm out of breath. I feel like I said a lot for an episode that was not even the longest episode of the series. Hopefully, I got more to talk about next week. So, may the Force be with you. Always.
Wait, guys, are you still here? I'm glad you're still here. All right, so if you look down, I mean, it's somewhere over here. Look down. We actually have a Patreon. So if you guys watch the show and you really like what we want to do and you want to help support the show and you want to help me get an editor so I can get to sleep at night because I'm really tired and you guys see all my mistakes in the episodes. So please go to patreon.com/thegoods. Give us a penny, give us a nickel, give us $1.
Just don't give us the finger.
Don't do that. But make sure you do donate something because we do have some giveaways. There's posters, there's t-shirts.
I'll sign something for you.
Exactly. So take a look, guys, and help us out. We appreciate it.